Hi everyone, this is Debbie. Welcome to the Sane Progressive. Testing right now to see if I can actually do this video. I've been having a lot of problems with my Facebook live feeds, so I'm going to just wait for a moment before I get into the content to talk about the new fact-checking that Facebook is saying that they're going to be doing. Talking about who they're actually going to be utilizing for this fact-checking. And talking about some very, very disturbing and chilling moves to censor information, not only by Facebook, but also from, the bill that's being passed in the Senate right now. So it appears that this feed is working. I'm just going to turn on a light. I will be right back. And we will get into the content of the video. I didn't know if this was going to work at all. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's good to see everybody, such as it is. This is so sad. I can't believe the content of the videos that I have to present to people. So let's start off with let me see if I can get to the first article. Of course, the very first one that I want to share with you. Here it is. This is on Facebook, and their move to say that they are going to be doing fact-checking against fake news. Now, in an era where the corporate media is acting as disinformation agents for the political establishment, that they don't do the most basic fact-checking on their own, that they allow themselves, as we saw in the WikiLeaks, to basically be stenographers and parrots for politicians. We saw one of the most consistent things that was revealed in WikiLeaks was the fact that the corporate news media, and it was like across the board, New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, the pundit list, a mile long. And these pundits were being used to basically, queue up stories, basically plant stories unvetted by the Hillary Clinton campaign directly to them. And it was a revelation of how corrupted the media is. Really, the corporate media is a corrupted entity. It is owned by organizations that have their own vested interest in their own personal wealth. Often the same very organizations they're funded by the same entities. The politicians and the media are funded by the same entities. And it has resulted in mass corruption. A recent study shows that 70% of the American people do not trust any or all of what the corporate media is presenting to them. And so in an age when you have the official news basically act many times, not always, but many times as propaganda agents, it's very chilling that these are the organizations calling for some kind of reining in of fake news. The Washington Post ran the article about the Facebook story that I'm just going to share with you right now. And the Washington Post ran 100 articles that turned out to be completely false about the run-up to the Iraq war. And they're calling for, and they're highlighting this story about the need to, look for fake news and disinformation when they provide the disinformation themselves. And so it's a really sad state of affairs. And I am trying to keep calm because I got very angry yesterday, and that's not how I want to be approaching my videos as a general rule. Once in a while, I'll let myself because the subject is so infuriating. But let's look at the article out today from the Free Thought Project. Let's start here. George Soros and Bill Gates exposed as the force behind Facebook's new fake news detector. After controversy erupted over Facebook's plan to use left-leaning liberal fact-checking organizations to flag disputed news as part of the wholly vapid and unnecessary war on fake news, additional information has emerged that won't quell the public's misgivings on the situation. Billionaire globalist George Soros is among several liberal luminaries funding the social media platform latest foray into the soft censorship of dissent. This isn't soft censorship. Wait till I tell you what they're doing. It's not soft censorship. This is going out against whistleblowers, against war, and smearing them. That is what they're doing. I'm trying to get my connection. I don't know if this, I know it's freezing on my end too, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, they're always interrupting my feeds. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so anyways, I was saying literally that I need to get off Facebook and my Facebook feed freezes. Here we are. I can't ethically continue to use this site knowing what they're doing. I can't. It was one thing when I felt like I was being specifically targeted and that they might be messing with my feeds or, censoring some of my content. But what I'm going to report to you in this video, I find so morally reprehensible. I don't know how to stay on this site anymore. I really don't. I am absolutely appalled. It goes against my deepest convictions as a person and somebody who desperately wants to act to create real change in this world. On Thursday, Mark Zuckerberg announced the plan to combat fake news, incidentally an issue he wasn't concerned about until the left establishment applied pressure, but was met with consternation and outrage from constitutional rights advocates, alternative media, and right-leaning media for the singular viewpoint of the ostensible fact-checking organizations. Now, before I continue to talk to you about this, I am really disturbed how Clinton operatives, George Soros, is the left. I mean, they are the, I think it's a better way to refer to these entities that this article is talking about. They're not the left. They're neoliberals. They advocate the same kind of war policies as the neoconservatives, and they have the same kind of corporate servitude as you associate with those on the right. So I really hate these labels. The labels have become so meaningless, but they keep using this language in this article, which I don't like. Face announcement would use third-party fact checkers from trusted Poynter Institute. Should have sounded even larger alarm bells. As Poynter receives funding from Soros Open Society Foundation, Google, the Craig Newman Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Omida, I can't say some of these words, I'm sorry. I've never heard them said out loud. I don't know how to pronounce them. People are always getting on me for that. The Omidyar Network and other left groups. These aren't left. They keep saying extreme left groups. These are not left groups. These are neoliberal groups that serve corporatists and war machines. They're not left. We got to really watch our labels. I'm sorry. I know that this isn't to the point of the story, but it's just even the basic way that we convey our dialogue is completely messed up. What does left mean? What does right mean? What does centrist mean? If I hear one more person tell me that Hillary Clinton is a centrist as she acts for extremist neoliberal policies and wars on lies, I'm going to pull my hair out. She's not a centrist. Those are extreme policies. They're extreme policies that are destroying the entire damn world. Let me read that paragraph over. Sorry. Indeed, Facebook's announcement it would use third-party fact checkers from the trusted Poynter Institute should have sounded even louder alarm bells, as they receive funding from Soros Open Society Foundation, Google, the Craig Newman Foundation, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Omidyar Network. eBay founder Pierre Omidyar has donated over $30 million to the Clintons and their charities. The Gates have given the Clinton Foundation no less than $25 million, and the loathed George Soros, who donated an unprecedented $27 million to defeat George W. Bush in 2004, reportedly spent over $25 million on Hillary Clinton and other Democratic candidates this cycle. So they're saying that these are unbiased. They are biased. They are extremely biased in their political affiliations, their donors, and being active in trying to influence politics the world over. So these are the last people who should be funding and having anything to do with fact-checking, which shouldn't be going on anyways. When did it become this role for this censorship that we can't, investigate ourselves and ferret out our own disinformation? We've had to do it anyways because that's all the corporate media does. So, okay, so they're all these funders are associated one way or another with Hillary Clinton. Okay, so who's doing this? Who are the fact checkers? There's a lot more information on the financial ties. I'm not going to read every last paragraph. I'll give you the link in the video description below and you can read it for yourself. Okay. Zuckerberg's plan will at first entail fact-checking by political fact. Snopes. Factcheck.org, the Associated Press, and ABC News, with options to rope more outlets into the effort in the future. But as the Ron Paul Institute reports, the bias in these groups and their panache for reporting false information is astonishing. These are very organizations that are notorious for putting out disinformation themselves, and then they are going to be charged with overseeing and fact-checking other sites for disinformation. That's fascinating. One problem, the organizations themselves are the biggest purveyors of real fake news. Political Fact was a whole website dedicated to exposing the organization's biases. The popular site Snopes is in fact run by a husband and wife out of their home in California. Neither have any background in research or investigation techniques. They use Google to make their determinations. As for AP and ABC News, they are mainstream media outlets with no clean hands when it comes to propagating fake news stories. And the Associated Press has a long history of coordinating with the government to produce fake news. So that's who's doing it. And what I found so offensive and makes me really want to never be on this site again is that Snopes, as you just heard in this article, is one of the fact-checking sources for the Facebook to determine the third-party source that's going to determine what is true and what is not, owned by two people who have no qualifications whatsoever to be playing this role, and as a site which is notorious. When I first read it, I was like, Snopes is one of the biggest disinformation sites on the web. So I saw this story. This is, how are they going to be using this? Who are they going to go after? What is going to be deemed fake news? Do you know who they just went after on Snopes? You know who they just went after for their fact check? Their fact checkers just went after? They went after Eva Bartlett. Eva Bartlett is the independent journalist who just testified in front of the UN, has testified in various press conferences. She's worked with the UN Peace Council to basically be a whistleblower of the disinformation on the campaign that is being manufactured to sell another war on lies in Syria. So to go after Eva Bartlett is akin to basically if somebody was doing a smear and hit job on Scott Ritter during the time that he was claiming that they didn't have the evidence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. It's the same thing. That's who. So they're going after the Scott Ritter of Syria. That's who they're going after. So this isn't just, these minor things. They are making a campaign. This is look at this article, victim blaming. it's called, this is on Snopes. The idea that victims of mass tragedies are recycled is a common theme among conspiracy theorists. That's who they're talking about. They're talking about Eva. They're calling her a conspiracy theorist, but there are international reports and footage of the Al-Quds hospital attack. I am not going to get into their claims against Eva. For one thing, the disinformation that campaign is all coming from these corporate mainstream media news sites manufacturing the disinformation that's coming from the government. So if they're going to be fact-checking people who are actually giving them real news and telling what's actually happening on the ground with their disinformation, then how do you even win? Because you can't, if they're going to manufacture propaganda and lies, and then they're going to basically put that out as real news, and then the people who go to Syria, she's been there 6 times, she's risked her life, and so anything she says, they can just produce whatever they friggin' want. That's the reality of what we're doing. So I'm not even going to try to fact check their fucking bogus claims. I'm not doing it. I do not believe Snopes. I do not believe anything that is being said on this Syrian war. It's Iraq redux, and this is an attempt by Snopes to take down the credibility of probably one of the only credible people who is speaking in the world on Syria right now. And that is what Facebook is featuring as a fact checker. That should chill you. That means, you have to think about what that means. Facebook has been an active part of a disinformation campaign of those damn Aleppo videos. You see them all over. The Hollywood-style produced Aleppo videos with all these beautiful children, always just the right amount of dust and white dust on their face. Speaking in terms of a script that is not the way some kind of tragic 7-year-old would even be talking about. I mean, if you listen to the actual content of the scripts, these are being fed to the children to be regurgitated. The white helmets also have connections to funding through Soros. The white helmets have been proven. You got to watch Max Blumenthal's list, Max Blumenthal's work on who the white helmets actually are and how they are funded and how that they are associated with terrorist groups and terrorist actions. They cut a friggin' one of their members, sliced off a little boy's head in Syria. But if you look at this article, first of all, listen to how they start. Bartlett has a statement on her own website that says she supports the current Syrian regime. Yeah, so do the Syrian people. They don't want the United States in there. We've dropped 20,000 bombs on them. We armed the rebels associated with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. We are decimating them, and we want to take over. We want to oust their regime, and we don't want to do it because we give a damn about the children of Aleppo. We want to do it because there is resources over there, and it's for geopolitical control, like all our wars are. And Facebook is one of the main ways that they are selling propaganda to get people to support the Syrian war, and it's sick. It is so sick what is going on right now. It breaks my heart. We are getting the same, and you know what's really hard about what's going on right now, guys? Is that at least in Iraq, we had a discussion, right? There was a big discussion about whether it was legal, whether we should do it. There was a discussion even on the corporate mainstream media about these issues. There was at least, now it wasn't great. They were spreading disinformation. Don't get me wrong, but there was a conversation that occurred during the run-up to Iraq. There was a lot of this, but there was at least something. Now it's like, we don't care that they lied us into war in Iraq. We don't care that they've lied us into almost every war that they've fought since World War II has been launched on disinformation. And the corporate media now just acts as stenographers and puppets. And not only are they just acting as stenographer and puppets, they are acting to defend the disinformation. That's how bad it's gotten. They are acting to protect the role of being propaganda artists. That is how bad it's gotten. And that is what is so chilling about this. This is another lie of a war, and now they are going after Eva, who is one of our only credible witnesses to speak out of it, and they're smearing it. Oh, she's a conspiracy theorist who supports Assad, as does the people of Syria. Even people who have issue with the government as a whole are coming together for the efforts to get the rebels out of Aleppo, who have been doing all of the things that the United States is saying that Assad and Russia are doing. You have to watch her testimony before the UN. This woman speaks truth. So you can read the specific, they give an Aleppo video to, document why she's a liar. Because, those white helmet propaganda videos are, that's what you need to claim disinformation. So they are smearing her full out. So this is the fact-checking agency. So what do you think's going to pop up next week, or whenever this campaign gets underway? They have just fact-checked Eva as being a false conspiracy theorist working for the Assad regime. Do you think when her video comes up, what do you think's going to come up next to it? Fake news story. That's who's going to be labeled. That's who's going to be labeled. The very whistleblowers who are speaking out to stop another atrocity happening in Syria. Iraq redux in Syria. You know how chilling that is? That is why I am so appalled with Facebook. It's like, are you kidding me? So they are seeking to be the agents of the disinformation to advance unnecessary illegal wars on lies and to be operatives of Soros. That is so sick. And this is the site we are on right now. And this is the site that we need to find a way off of, because they're not going to allow me to continue to talk. Any video that you see of me is going to be fake news because, Sane progressive, the crazy woman who talks about the UN whistleblower, Eva Bartlett, who's a known conspiracy theorist and who has ties to Assad. I bet Sane progressive is also working undercover with Assad. That is where this is going. It's so chilling. That's where we are. We are in 1984. And I just have to say to Mark Zuckerberg and all of the Facebook goons who are doing this censorship, what the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with your morality that you want to participate, to be the agents to sell another war on lies, to commit murder on lies? What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is morally wrong with you? What the hell is broken in your soul that this is what you want to do? How many houses in Hawaii do you need, Mark Zuckerberg? What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you guys? This is sick. This is about killing innocent people on lies. This is about taking over other people's land on lies. What is wrong with these people that continue to do this? What is wrong with these pundits on the corporate media that allow themselves to be used in this way and don't say a word against it? What is wrong with people? Because individual people make these decisions, and that's what I find so appalling about it. They make their minds up to be sold out. So, this is a person who is a whistleblower. This is and she is being smeared and attacked by one of Facebook fact checkers, and it makes me want to vomit. It is so incredibly immoral. It is immoral what they are doing. It's like, whatever. With me, I'm just a person who gives my opinion and then tries to put some things into context. But when they go after Eva, who risks her life to give you this information, and then they smear her in the worst and ugliest ways, that is just a whole different thing. And, let's look at some of the other stories. Now, I just mentioned Scott Ritter, right? Let's talk about something else. I want to talk about how censorship was actually recently tied to Scott Ritter in another way. Listen, I want to bring it back because, let's see if I can find it. Okay. Now, I think I've talked about this. There's the Prop or Not Blacklist, which was published. It was the list of 200, let's see if I can give you a summary of what it was. Read it directly from the article. Hold on. Okay, let me back up for a second here for people who may not know about this specific story. Investigation into Prop or Not Blacklist case finds shoddy methods and ominous potential. If you believe the shadowy organization Prop or Not, a subject of a recent article in the Washington Post, I'm a Russian intelligence agent or a useful idiot. This is a person writing for Truthdig who was put on their blacklist. Truthdig was put on their blacklist. Maybe a violator of the Espionage Act and the Foreign Agent Registration Act. Prop or not, also thinks I should be investigated by the FBI and the Justice Department. This is Truthdig, which is one of my favorite news sources. Big plug for Truthdig. Chris Hedges writes over there. You want to star them. Star everybody they put on the list, those fuckers. It's not because I have a Russian surname. It's because I write for Truthdig, one or more of the 200 websites named in a study by Prop or Not, short for propaganda or not. That's what that means, propaganda or not. The sites, the study says, were pro-Russian, either intentionally or by being stupid enough to be tools of the Kremlin. So even if you had nothing to do with Russia, just by the fact that the content that you had on your site might be advantageous to that crafty Vladimir Putin, that you were a Russian agent. This is McCarthyism resurrected. This is neo-McCarthyism. I'm not going to read you the entire article. I will give you the Truthdig link. It's already on the Sane Progressive page. But basically, if you read through the article, they talk about their criteria is totally bogus, and it shows that they were not stemming their criteria really for Russian involvement or being operatives of Russia. It was about targeting people directly for dissent, and that brings me back to Scott Ritter, because one of his stories appearing on Truthdig was one of the reasons that they got flagged. Let me read this to you directly. Let me go to the next page. Okay. A Truthdig piece by Scott Ritter was one of the reasons that the authors of the study put Truthdig on the list. A article by the person who was right about weapons of mass destruction and a dissenter against the war lies is a reason that Truthdig is flagged, because he contributed a story. Okay, that tells you who is being actually targeted. They're not targeting people who are giving fake news. They're targeting people who give actual news, actual facts. Scott Ritter was right about the weapons of mass destruction. He was one of the few people who came out and spoke about it at the time. So if you listen to this, Ritter writes, and Ritter is talking about Russia and not going along with their claims of Russia. I think I'm going to listen to the guy who was right about the Iraqi weapons of mass destruction in real time. I think I'm going to listen to him. Today, the foreign policy playbook calls for confrontation, containment, and isolation of Russia. This is a terrifying proposition. President-elect Trump's willingness to break with the foreign and national security establishment playbook and seek to normalize relations with Russia is a welcome development. Oh my God, having a good relationship with Russia, which Ronald Reagan, it was like one of the hallmarks of his presidency, getting the wall torn down and ending the Cold War. But apparently that's not so fashionable anymore. The time for a genuine reset with Russia is long overdue, not just for old Cold Warriors like me, but for anyone who is vested in a better future for the United States, Europe, and the world. Oh, he wants peace with Russia. Better put him on the blacklist. Better put a big black check. I want black paint over his name. And that's one of the reasons they got flagged. And they say this, by including Ritter's article as a reason for blacklisting Truthdig, propaganda or not showed that it effectively was targeting dissent and imposing a form of censorship on dissenters. And who do we see now being targeted? Over on Snopes. You see Eva Bartlett, who is kind of the Scott Ritter of Syria, and whistleblowing on the disinformation on Syria being put out in real time, the same way that Scott Ritter was a whistleblower on the disinformation on Iraq in real time. All right? And then he goes on, and listen to when the author of this article was in contact with Propaganda or Not, and the author of that study that got published in the Washington Post. This is the questions that they wrote to this author in response to his questions to them, because he was doing an investigation on what was triggering them being included on a blacklist, as they damn well should have. So this is the questions he received. Do you assess that Putin's Russia is a brutal authoritarian kleptocracy which represses independent media at home while using fake news as online propaganda abroad? Do you? Where were you on the night of September 22nd, 1978? What the fuck? Do you assess that poses a significant threat to our constitutional democracy? If we're on, are you interested in genuinely constructive solutions for doing something about it? If you don't like our all-volunteer, ad hoc, quick turnaround strategy, fine. But we're interested in your thoughts and suggestions generally. Unreal. Unreal. Let me see. Sorry, my computer I've got all these windows open and it's running slow. So Bill Boyarsky writes, this is the author of the Truth Dig article. No matter what my opinions are about Russia and Putin, I don't want to be on that page, and I do not want to play on Propaganda or Not's team. Good for you, Bill. When I read the Prop or Not question, I immediately thought of the Hollywood 10, the screenwriters and the directors who went to jail because they refused to answer questions from the House Committee on the Un-American activities. It sounded as if Prop or Not wanted me to be what was known to the committee as a friendly witness, bowing and scraping before their self-appointed judges. The Washington Post article, in addition to citing Prop or Not as a source, named Clint Watts of the Foreign Policy Research Institute. He has been a U.S. Army infantry officer, a FBI special agent on a joint terrorism task force, and the executive officer of Combating Terrorism Center at West Point. Watts and two colleagues, Andrew Westberg and J.M. Berger, wrote a report, Trolling for Trump, How Russia is Trying to Destroy Our Democracy. So this is who is behind this study. They are the propaganda agents. They are the disinformation agents. And this is chilling. This is what authoritarian regime, dictator governments, oligarchies, and tyrants always do when it becomes difficult to control the narrative and they are trying to seek to control the information. They seek to repress the voices of anyone who dissents. That is what they do, and that is why this is so chilling. And that is why it is so chilling that Facebook is volunteering to be an operative of those kind of forces. That is so deeply immoral and unethical and grotesque. And what comes in tandem with this is equally horrifying, because as people become more and more aware, and people are more and more aware, they can label fake news. 70% of the American people don't trust the corporate media as it is, and they already know something is wrong. So they can label everybody they want to, but people are already questioning the legitimacy of the people who are labeling it. So what happens in tandem in trying to control narratives, suppress free speech, and control dissent is to of course, control the narrative, blacklist people who speak out against them. The thought police are coming. But also what comes along with that becomes a police state, and it becomes when they jail people. It becomes when they disappear people. It becomes when they crack down and they control people. The police state becomes a not just some kind of abstract fear, but something that you see in your regular life, where you do see people who are disappeared, where you do see people who are killed, where you do see people who are brought up on fake charges, and we've already seen the beginning of it. We are moving into the police state. Standing Rock showed the true way that the government feels about the American people. They give all kinds of lip service to our freedom, but when people actually showed up to try to protest and stop and protect the water, they call themselves the water protector, they were shown force by the very military that is supposed to protect and defend the United States people, not be used as hench people for the fossil fuel companies. And they threw a grenade. One girl's arm got shot off. Another woman had her vision destroyed in one eye. Many people suffered serious hypothermia with the use of water cannons. The way that they treated women who they were arrested, the way that they intimidated them and stripped them naked and arrested people without cause, that's the hallmarks of a police state. We saw what the actual functioning of a police state was in Standing Rock. And that is what will happen when people actually show up to push back in real ways. You can see it. I was in Philadelphia protesting the bogus nomination of Hillary Clinton, and being at the wall outside of the convention center, that looked like something that you would associate with a war zone. But the war zone has come home. Of course it does. What they'll do over there, of course they'll eventually do to us. We're no different. Why would we expect anything different? Why would we deserve anything different? And so, I saw it. I sitting with people who were totally peaceful. They put a 4-mile wall, double thick, 12 feet high up against a hippie commune. That's what they did. In Philadelphia, and there was like 6 helicopters above us with snipers trained on us, with spotlights on us and tear gas going off in the crowd because we were protesting the theft of a nomination that Hillary Clinton didn't win, and they took out military intimidation against us. And the only reason that they didn't use force it wasn't because they had any reason they had any problem not using it against us. It's because they did not want that kind of narrative to be coming out around the Queen's coronation. That's why I felt safe going down there. It would have been more detrimental for Hillary Clinton to have those kind of stories coming out. That's why you didn't see anything happen. But it was there. It was there to be used at a moment's notice, and they let you know it. And this is the country we live in. We are under the police state. Everything that we've associated with every authoritarian dictatorship and evil regime, or from Russia to Germany, and all of that is happening with us. And we also see it with the jailing of people who whistleblow. Chelsea Manning, tortured in prison, put in prison for whistleblowing on crimes committed in Iraq, should be hailed as a hero, should be given a Congressional Medal of Freedom for doing that and standing up in such a courageous way. No, she's tortured. She's tortured as to set an example for anybody who reveals the truth and the crimes of how our government actually acts. She is, you do that, you tell the truth about who we do, what we do, and the crimes we commit. This is what's going to happen to you. She's tried to kill herself twice in prison. Of course she has. It's sick what they've done. It's sick. What we've done to Edward Snowden. The fact that we have our government all over the globe trying to, top government officials rather, calling for the assassination of Julian Assange, who they want to have drawn and quartered and has basically been kept imprisoned in the embassy for revealing the truth of their crimes. He is in prison for revealing the truth of their crimes in that embassy. And he has been smeared, and he has had fake stories about sexual assaults that never happened put against him. Anybody who threatens their power is treated that way. Anybody who does. And they are coming after us harder and harder and harder. And I have to say to all these people in the corporate media, all of you that recite their lies and their propaganda, I don't care if you think your ends justify the means. What I have seen with Russia has been appalling. I see Michael Moore going on Chris Hayes to spread disinformation around Russia to justify the electors not installing Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. He chills me to the very marrow of my bones, but it also chills me to the very marrow of my bones that disinformation and made-up propaganda to smear a country that we do not have any kind of tangible evidence to be asserting these claims becomes a reason to try to oust the election of a president and the inauguration of a president. If you want to make the case that Donald Trump should not be the president and that this election was fraudulent, this election was fraudulent, but it wasn't because of Russia. It was because of the fraud that was committed from inside this country. That is why, if you want to talk about the dangers of Donald Trump and the merits of the real dangers of Donald Trump, and you want to argue to the electors about that, go for it all day long. But don't make up disinformation and you idiots. What do you think you geniuses are doing by setting the precedent that we can that presidential administration and the CIA and the corporate media can collude to manufacture a story that is not proven, and utilize that as a means to stop a president from coming to power? What do you think's going to happen in 4 years? What do you think's going to happen in 8 years? You don't think that tactic's going to be used against you? What the hell are you thinking? Are you insane? What do you have, like the brains of like a rotted bowl of coleslaw? I don't even understand. And I'm seeing this from Michael Moore, and I am seeing this from Keith Olbermann. I am seeing this from Rachel Maddow. I am seeing this from Keith Hayes. I am seeing it. Keith Ellison? Keith Ellison, your progressive hero that Bernie Sanders is trying to sell? Do you know what Keith Ellison has tweeted on his page right now? I'm going to look this up because you guys need to know this. I was horrified. Listen to this. Listen to what Keith Ellison tweeted out. It's going to take me a second to get here because my page is... Oh my God. Twitter. Let me go to Keith Ellison's page. You have to hear this. My jaw dropped to the floor. New key. Okay. Okay. Ready? You ready? Ready? This is what Keith Ellison tweeted out on his page on December 15th. Russia hacking warrants an independent inquiry. The 9/11 Commission offers a useful model. That's what this fraud tweeted out. Let's see what's wrong with that. First of all, the 9/11 Commission was a bogus cover-up that the people who actually served on the panel said was completely whitewashed. Many people who actually were involved in that committee said it was totally unscientific, unprofessional, and a whitewash. The people inside the committee. Let's use the 9/11 investigation to be the blueprint for how we investigate Russia. And boy, it's getting surreal. I mean, this is the kind of thing that Keith Ellison is tweeting out. Really? He's calling for an investigation. So is Lindsey Graham. So is John McCain. What does Keith Ellison, John McCain, and Lindsey Graham all have in common? What do they all have in common? Riddle me that. Oh, they all want to institute regime change in Syria, and they all want to institute no-fly zones, which would, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, require engaging in war with Russia. And at the same time, they are all calling for an investigation, but they're saying that the content of this investigation, by the way, will be kept secret because, secret, to justify, and Lindsey Graham wants to put punishing, crippling sanctions on Russia. I can't believe that I am living in a time where I am giving basically videos to try to contradict Goebbels level propaganda by the United States political establishment and the corporate media and people that you would think would be on our side. Keith Olbermann, I used to have a big old crush on Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck, and his special comments and the way he told the truth. Hey, Olbermann, Murrow is rolling over in his grave watching you. rolling over in his grave, a tossin' and a turnin'. Michael Moore, somebody else I used to respect. And the thing about this is, because we've heard these people in the past speak so eloquently about these injustices, have a sense of history, the fact that they are acting in this way is so chilling, because these are the people who should know better. Michael Moore should know better. Keith Olbermann should know better. Chris Hayes should know better. They should know better. So why are they choosing to act this way? We are moving into some really, really scary and dangerous time. Now, the last thing, since I'm talking about it, I'm going to tie all of this together. And I've talked about this before. Now I've got to go back. Okay. And I started this with Facebook censoring, and I've talked to, you should watch my other video on this, because there's so much going on. I'm not going to cover this full subject again, but remember, Facebook is collaborating with the Israeli government to determine what should be censored, along with George Soros and Snopes. And let's see if I can find the last link and let you get on with your Sunday. Oh. Here it is. Here it is. Tippy, tippy, tap. It's warming up, sir. It's warming up. Senate passes major Portman-Murphy counter-propaganda bill as part of the National Defense Authorization Act. Well, all of this is going on, all the lies and disinformation of Russia, all of the propaganda being put out against Eva Bartlett, all of the censorship of the fake news by the real fake news. We have on December 8th, 2016, the Countering Disinformation of Propaganda, legislation designed to help American allies counter foreign government propaganda from Russia, China, and other nations, and also extremists. I wonder who's an extremist. I think I would be deemed an extremist. Anybody who tells truth is an extremist. And I said this in my past video, but I just, introduced by Senators Portman and Murphy in March, will improve the ability of the United States to counter foreign propaganda and disinformation by establishing an interagency center housed at the State Department to coordinate and synchronize counter-propaganda efforts through the U.S. government. Do you know what that means? Welcome to the Ministry of Truth. They made a Ministry of Truth. That's what this bill is. It's an Orwell 1984 Ministry of Truth bill. And the other thing that I found that was so chilling about this, the center will be led by the State Department, but with the active senior level participation of the Defense Department, the USAID, the Broadcasting Board of Governors, the intelligence community, and other relevant agencies. The disinformation kings and queens, and the defense. And what does our Defense Department do? What does the United States do? The United States continually has engaged in launching illegal criminal wars on lies. None of the wars that we've fought since World War II have been moved forward on actually the real reasons that the United States government actually wanted to go in. And so now you have the U.S. Defense Department coordinating what is factual, when their entire role collaborating with the CIA has been to give disinformation to get support for coups in other countries and regime change in other countries and war in other countries and stealing resources in other countries. And where the hell is the corporate media reporting on the fact that they're making a Ministry of Truth this month? No, they're tripping over themselves to be in line to be one of the lead puppet parrots. That's what they want to be. They don't want to actually give news or information or context to the American people. They're all competing to be the lead parrot so they can squawk. Russia. This is appalling. This is so sad. This country is going to... You know what? You think Russia's the problem? We are imploding from within. We are the most dishonest, Our government and the corporate media is completely dishonest. And the American people, for far too long, have been just complicit in accepting lies that they don't actually believe, but just allowing it to go on and on and on. And now we're there. We are entering the police state. Here we are. So it's going to be very challenging what we're entering for the next few years. And Donald Trump is right on board with it. I think a lot of people had hoped, because Donald Trump had such an ego and that he, gave such good populist rhetoric to these crowds wanting to be, the everyday guy, that I think people were seduced into thinking, well, maybe Donald Trump would be, narcissistically vested in trying to do right by the people just for his own ego. Not that he actually gave a damn. It was always about what reflected on him. But that's not the case. Donald Trump has actively shown total contempt for the American people. He has installed a cabinet of the absolute most chilling people that he could absolutely pick. They are a Republican establishment. He's not draining the swamp. He's adding swamp monsters. He has 15 people he appointed to his cabinet have more wealth than the bottom third of the country combined. He is giving billionaires power directly to go in and lead agencies that they have advocated previously to destroy. Last point in all of this. As I've talked to you constantly to try to give you the context of what is actually going on, because everything they do is disinformation. Everything they do has a motive that they are not publicly speaking. It's in 180-degree opposite to what they are trying to tell you. So as I'm telling you all of this right now, what am I not talking to you about? What is the country not talking about? Not talking about that we are in crisis level problems and we are undergoing the 6th mass extinction event. If you went on CNN, they actually covered it. 75% of the species that we know, that people know of that have existed on Earth, will be gone in the next 40 years. 50% are already gone. We are losing our climate. We are losing the habitability of this planet. We are losing our oceans. We are standing on the edge of a total abyss and a cliff. And at the time that the United States needs to be leading the world on rational conversations to stop. And we're not going to be able to stop all this, but maybe salvage some shreds of the damage that we have done through this industrial age. Are we talking about any of it? Are we talking about any of it? No. All I spend my time doing is countering the lies, because you can't even get to the actual issues. Well, I think I've said enough about who they are. You guys know who they are. I'm going to have to start talking more about issues and let these videos serve as a record for who they actually are, because I can't be countering every piece of disinformation, because I will never be able talking to you about issues. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about this week was the story about how 350,000 people in Corpus Christi, Texas this week do not have drinkable or usable water because they had a chemical spill from an asphalt removal chemical into their water supply, and they cannot bathe, they cannot use their water to drink, they cannot even wash their clothes in it. It is toxic to touch. There's no boiling it safe. 350,000 people lost their water supply in a major city in Texas, last week. Did you hear? Where was that? Where was the fact that our water supplies were tainted? Where is the stories of Flint, Michigan, and how nothing has been done to heal that, and how the fact is all over the Northeast? If I'm going to go out and travel again, I want to go travel to all the towns and all the cities all over this country that don't have water that they can use anymore. In Vermont, in New York, I'm talking 50, 75 miles from the home where I live, this is going on. Our water supplies is completely tainted. And this is what we know about. And what about the nuclear leaks going on in friggin' Washington and Florida? And all the while, the country is burning from within, and we are collapsing, and we stand to lose the very foundations of which we depend to stay alive. We are getting nothing but lies from these people. So I'm going to say to them, what the hell is wrong with you? Knock your shit off. Wake up. The house is on fire. The house is burning down around us. It's getting to our beds. Knock your shit off. Wake up. See what you are doing and get over your fucking investment in this wealth and your power trip. Because what's going to happen very soon, nature is the great equalizer, and we are all going to go down in flames. You fools. You fools. You fools. They are such morons. All right. Breathe while there's still air to do it. Breathe. My heart is broken. My heart is broken. I don't even know what to say anymore. I can't. I'm bearing witness to fucking end times. And we're watching like people not even be able to talk about what is happening before our eyes. I don't even get it. All right, everybody. There you go. I love you all. Have a lovely day. I think I'm going to go watch a Christmas movie and, eat chocolate, before